Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shin Kim. This is the teaching of Old Testament theology. Yeah, there are actually big actually difference between the New Testament theology and the Old Testament theology. Usually, New Testament theology actually focus on the life of Jesus Christ, okay, his incarnation and his ministry and his death and his resurrection and his ascension into the heaven. And that is actually most important actually theological topic in the New Testament. But Old Testament theology actually dealing with a totally different theological themes. So through the second class, I'm dealing with God, okay, who God is. And through the second class, actually dealing with the creation. God created the heavens and the earth, okay? And today my topic is human, okay? Human, who is human, okay? Who are you? Who am I? Okay, that is one of the also biggest topic in the Old Testament. That's why I'm dealing with this issue today. Many of you, yeah, through the Renaissance and even the old actually Greek Roman actually civilization, actually the center of the universe is human. So according to the Da Vinci man, okay, this actually drawing is extremely famous. Many of you already accustomed to singing this actually drawing according to the Da Vinci. Human, okay, we are human. So who we are, that is one of the biggest actually difficult question, okay. So the Old Testament actually dealing with this issue. So according to the Genesis, the first book of the whole Bible, the first book of the Old Testament dealing with who actually created human. According to the Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, on sixth day, okay, God created everything. But on the last day, God finally created a human being. Okay, let me read it. Let us make a man in our image, okay. God actually made a human according to whose image? God's image, okay, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the bird of the air. God already created so many fishes and bird and also animals over the livestock of all the earth and of the all creatures that move along the ground. Finally, on sixth day, God created a human being according to his image. So God created a man in his one image, in the image of God. He created a man, male and female. He created them. So yeah, human being divided by man and female, okay? So even, yeah, look at the picture. Even the, according to the sex, actually, the main hormone is totally different, okay? Or even the inner organism, okay? Sexual organism totally different from each other. So in the beginning, God created the man and the female, according to his image. This is actually the description who we are. Before being a Christian, I'm not sure about my identity, where I'm coming from, okay? And after my death, where will I go back? I didn't know the answer, but as soon as I become a Christian, I know the clear answer. Who am I? Okay, I am creature of God. But I'm not sure. Many of you non-Christian, okay? Some of you are Buddhist, some of you are okay accepting Hinduism or shamanism or atheist, whatever you are. Maybe you are looking for your identity. But Christianity, especially the Old Testament theology, indicates that you are the creature of God. God created human on the 6 days. And but my question, actually, I'm going to raise another question, okay? Because already Genesis chapter 1 dealing with the creation of a human being, but suddenly Genesis chapter 2 dealing with another creation. So exactly there is two actually creation history, especially the human being, okay? Let me read it. Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And the Lord formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and the man became a living being. We already read the Genesis chapter 1. God created according to his image. He created male and female. But suddenly, the chapter 2 talking about suddenly the creation way is totally different. The Genesis chapter 1, God created male and female by his word. But in Genesis chapter 2, describe that actually God formed the man from the dust. So maybe when you are in your childhood from the dust, you made something, okay? We pour out some water into some dust and we made something. Exactly the same way God formed the man from the dust. But there is another thing. Suddenly he breathed into his nostril the breath of life. So, breathable life. What is this meaning? It is extremely hard to interpret, okay, this verse, this also the vocabulary. But anyway, the man became a living thing. Finally, we become a living things. So look at the painting. This is one of the description. So our body actually coming from the dust, okay? But we are not only the dust. Suddenly, God breathed his life into our body. So this drawing, this actually exactly describe the exact of the according to the Genesis chapter 2. Something invisible thing coming into our body, and as a result, human being become a living thing. So another actually chapter 2 verse 21 talking about the Lord God caused the man to fall into this deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's rib and closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. So chapter 1 talking about God made male and female together at the same time. But in Genesis chapter 2, little bit different story, okay? God made male first, okay? And after that, he actually made the man fall into deep sleep, because he tried open our apart and break out the one of the rib, okay? Rib is, exactly located between the two arms, okay? This is bone. When he took it out, maybe it is extremely painful to the man, but he closed up, and maybe it looks like a surgery, okay? Open your stomach and bring out one rib and close up, okay? That's the job of the usually the surgery. The medical doctor actually open your body and close it. Exactly God doing the same way. And with the rib of the man, actually God made woman. So chapter 1, chapter 2. If you are carefully reading chapter 1, chapter 2, you may find some difference between chapter 1 and chapter 2, okay? So through actually this one, I'm raising one question. There is one creation story or two creation story. That's why chapter 1. So look at the screen, and you may see Genesis chapter 1, and you may see chapter 2. So there is two story. So this is exactly the same story or dealing with a different story. That's my question. Also, that's the question by actually Old Testament theologian. So usually many conservative theologian interpret that even though there is two story, this is only one story. This is one creation. So exactly chapter 1 and chapter 2 dealing with the same creation story, even though there is two story. And Adam, actually, he is the first actual physical ancestor of all humanity. So many conservative theologians interpret these two chapters. This is one story, but a little bit different description, but dealing with only one same story, the creation of Adam and Eve together, okay? But other theologian, actually, Old Testament theologian. No. This is totally two different creation. So they focus on the difference between chapter 1 and chapter 2. So as I said, chapter 1, actually God created the male and the female together. But chapter 2 dealing with a totally different story. First, he formed Adam first. Okay. After that, he made Adam fall into deep sleep and took out one of the rib, and he made Hawa, okay, or Eve, okay. So woman coming from the body of the man. So this is a totally different story. And also in chapter 1, there is no description about the breath of life. God breathed, okay. God breathed through the nostril into the human body, the breath of life. So what is the breath of life? So according also to the several theologians, they also interpret it in different way. So, but my personal thinking is that breath of life is some kind of a spirit, okay? Human body, even though we have the human body, but inside us there is the spirit. That's also one of the biggest difference. So yeah, still this is one of the extremely difficult Bible verse, okay, especially in Old Testament. That's why so many theologians actually they interpret chapter 1 and chapter 2. So there are so many interpretations according to the theologian. So another difficult actually issue is that Adam and Eve has sexual relationship, and through them there was two sons were born. The first son called Cain, and the second son called Abel. Okay, but unfortunately, Cain murdered Abel. That's the first actually murder case in the Bible. So look at the painting. Yeah, the upper guy is the old guy called Cain, and the lower man called actually Abel. Actually, in the field, actually, Cain murdered Abel, and after that, suddenly God actually called to Cain. Cain, where are you? And finally, God found Cain, and Cain was afraid. And according to the Genesis chapter 4:14. Cain actually asking to God, whoever find me will kill me. So who is whoever? So during that time, there is only fourth person, okay, according to the description, okay, according to the Bible, Adam and Eve, and the first son Cain, and the second son Abel. But Cain murdered Abel, so that means there is only three persons on the earth at the time. But Cain asked God, whoever find me will kill me. So who is whoever? That means except Adam and Eve, Cain, there are another people. We can guess that, okay? And after that, another actually little bit of chapter 4 at 14 and 17. Cain lived in the land of Nod, east of Adam. Cain lay with his wife. Where his wife coming from? As I said, conservative perspective, there is only three persons, Adam and Eve and Cain, that's all. There is only three persons. But Cain recognized there is another person. That's why whoever, okay, there are another persons. And again, Cain actually lay with he found his woman, and he have a sexual relationship, and she became pregnant and give birth to Enoch, okay, Enoch. Another son actually coming from the Cain, okay. So that means we can interpret that even there are another person, okay, Adam and Eve. So from the perspective of the conservative theologian, Adam is the first person, okay. But from another theologian, okay, another evangelical theologian who believe in old earth theory, that means Adam is not the first person. Long time ago, there are so many people, and among them, God chose Adam. Okay, so Adam looks like the first spiritual person. As I said, in chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1, God created male and female, and it looks like they don't have any spirit, okay, spirit. But it looks like Adam is the first spiritual person who can communicate with God. And that means during that time, even the time of the Adam and Eve, there are so many other people live there outside, okay, outside of the Eden, okay, the Garden of Eden, outside, there are so many people already lived there. And Cain actually escaped from the Eden, and Cain found another woman, and that's why he can marry, okay, he can marry and also gave birth a son, okay. So from the perspective of the young Earth theory, through the previous class, I already explained about this one. Young Earth theory means around 6,000 years ago, Adam, actually, he is the first creature of the human, and that's the actually young Earth theory. But there is some difficulty or shortage or some theological lack, because Adam is the first person. But I already explained about that. The first person, actually, even though Adam and Eve lived 6,000 years ago, but after Cain murdered Abel, it looks like it seems that there are another people. So that's why there is old Earth theory around almost 100,000 years ago. Already so many people living on the earth. That's why, except Adam and Eve, there are so many people. That is the theologian from the perspective of all Earth theory. Okay, so that's why. So among the so many people, God chose one person actually called Adam, and Adam became the first actually spiritual person, and he lived in the Garden of Eden with Eve. Okay, so I like based on the so many scientific actually fact and truth. Actually, I chose actually all Earth theory instead of the young Earth theory, because young Earth theory, so many actually there is conflict. Okay, there is oppose against modern scientific fact. Okay, that's why I'm chose old Earth theory. So according to the old Earth theory, around 100,000 years ago, God created male and female, and around 6,000 years ago, maybe God chose Adam and bring him to the Garden of Eden, and he become the first spiritual person. Okay, that is more reasonable and more rational. Maybe some of you chose the young Earth theory. So another question is that creation or evolution. Okay. But according to the Bible, Genesis, man and woman were the crown of creation. God created a human being. So look at the painting. Okay, God created a human being. But according to the evolution, what is evolution? Human being evolved from the monkey. Okay, monkey evolved maybe some fishes. Okay, that's the actually evolution theory. Why do we call it theory? Theory means not 100% for fact. That's why we still call it evolution theory. But according from the perspective of the Old Testament theologian, humans were species and unique creation of God, not the result of random mutation and the natural selection. So even according to the Darwinism, actually, human being evolved. So which one do you like? Okay. So maybe some kids ask a question. Hey, Daddy, look at the damn monkey in the zoo. And in what years later, that monkey become a human? Because according to the evolution theory. So one of the biggest shortage, theological shortage against the evolution theory is that why there is no intermediate, okay, between the human and the monkey. Because according to the evolution theory, monkey evolved into the human. But can we find any intermediate species between the monkey and the human? Through actually my experience, through actually scientific fact, it is almost impossible to any kinds of intermediate between the monkey and the human. Okay, so that's why evolution Darwinism actually life made itself. So there a long time ago there is Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnons. Maybe through when you study about the world history, you learn about these kinds of human species. Okay, so again, my question is that left side it looks like a monkey. Okay, monkey start walking, and finally right side is human being. Okay, but where is there is 1, 2, 3, 4 another species. Okay, between the monkey and the human, and can you find any intermediate species among the between the monkey and the human for other species? And do you see any monkey walking with two legs? Do you find any species like that? According to the evolution theory, we must find those kinds of intermediate species. But as I said, it is extremely hard to find those kinds of species. And also from fish. Fish actually has some long time ago. Fish had swimming on the water, and it suddenly has some kind of leg, and it start walking. So do you see any fish with a leg? So still it is mysterious. That's why even we living in 2000 year, okay? But still we are arguing that creation theory or evolution theory, which one is more scientific, which is more correct theory. So that's why we still, both of them called theory. Okay, Darwinism is theory. Okay, so still we are confused. But as I said, one of the biggest actually theological theme in the Bible, especially Old Testament theology, is that men and women are the crown of a creation of God. So this is one kind of actually watch. Maybe Switzerland is one of the best actually country who made excellent watch. So when you see this picture, what do you imagine? What do you guess? The watch has been evolved by the nature. Do you think that this is the creature of the nature? Maybe no one agree with it. Okay, no one agree to this watch has been evolved by itself. So what do you think about it? This is the watch is a very complex actually tool. Okay, so this is created by human being. Maybe 100% of you agree that human being actually made this watch. Never evolved from dust. Okay, this watch cannot be evolved by itself. Human being, some intelligent one actually made this kind of a watch. Maybe 100% of you agree with that. So who are human? According to the human DNA, especially by the project called Human Genome Project, it started in 1919 through it finished in 2003. So human body, we have DNA, okay? That's why we have a DNA test. And this is some kind of sequence of several billions of DNA. Our body is composed of several billions of DNA, okay? Look at the structure. Do you think that it is more complex than the watch? I agree, okay, I agree. This even human looks like according to some evolution theory, actually human being evolved from the monkey. But when we search for our body, especially DNA structure, and maybe through the biology class actually learn about human body is composed of DNA, and it seems like more accurate, more complex than the watch. Previously, through the previous actually screen, you watch the watch, okay? Watch is a complex tool, and even human being is more complex than the watch. I actually, even though, yeah, when I in the junior and the senior high school, I learn about the biology, and yeah, it seems like even we miss the one atom, one dot from our body, we become irregular person, okay? In modern day, there are so many actually DNA mutation, and some people actually was born different way. But most people actually with these kinds of regular DNA subunit. This is extremely complex one, okay? Even from the biology and medicine has been developed, but scientists cannot make these kinds of develop in their laboratory, okay? This is impossible to make such a complex DNA structure by the human being, okay? So according to the also we already read this Bible verse, the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and the man became a living thing. So first, the upper picture, God made human being from the dust, okay, from dust to the dust. So after our death, our body going to return to the dust. But there is one difference between the animal and the human being. God breathed. So the lower picture, it seems like some kind of white, foggy, actually enter the body of a human, okay? So as a result, human being become the spiritual one, okay? Spirit. So according to the also theologian, there is two actually big theory called the dichotomy. First is trichotomy. So there are, so that means the dichotomy means human has two parts, body and soul. But according to another theologian, trichotomy, actually human being actually composed of three parts, body, soul, and spirit. Okay, we are three parts. So body, yeah, I don't need to explain about this one. Okay, body, or every human being has body. We have a nervous system, we have a brain, we have organs and protein, fat. We have a five senses. We see, we taste, we hear, we touch. So we have senses. Okay, attached to human body. And everybody also has the soul. That's going to be called actually consciousness, actually conscious mind. We thinking, we reasons, we have wills, and also we have a belief, attitude, feeling, emotion. We have memories. That actually is the part of the soul. But through actually previous screen, God breathed, okay, some invisible things called the spirit. Means, yeah, there is some invisible things. So we are spirit, we have a soul, and we live in the body. But as I said, according to the Old Testament theologian, somebody said that human being is composed of two parts, body and soul, and the other theologian insists that body, soul, and spirit. It is 100% sure. Yeah, body is visible one, but maybe soul or spirit is invisible one. Okay, so we look at each other. We look at each other, our physical body, and you are tall, you are handsome, you are fat. According to our physical body, we actually sometimes evaluate person, but inside us, definitely there is some kind of intelligence. Okay. Einstein, he's a genius guy, okay? He invented some kinds of theory, but even though he explained about his theory, not many people understand, okay? He's a genius guy, but sometimes we don't understand. Even though we see the universe, we don't understand it. But Einstein or Bill Gates, these guys actually more intelligence, more IQ, more higher IQ than us actually, frankly speaking, okay? So according to the Bible, especially Old Testament, actually, yeah, human being is composed of 2 part or 3 part, whatever you choose. Actually, I prefer trichotomy. Human being has composed of 3 parts: body, soul, and spirit. I love this theory. But some actually theologian instead dichotomy. So which one you choose? You may choose, okay? Anyway, 100% sure thing is that there is some invisible thing in our body, okay? Maybe whatever you call it, this is our human IQ or your emotion, but there is one more thing called the spirit, okay? Another actually concept is that according to the Bible, God created the male and the female. So there are men and women. So Genesis chapter 5, when God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them. And when they were created, he called them human. We are human, okay? We are human. So all of the human actually coming from the Adam and Eve, and they have a sexual intercourse. As a result, Cain and Abel was born, and even, yeah, I'm coming from my parents, okay? My father and mother fall in love. As a result, I was born, and that's actually a description of the Bible. But in the modern day, there are some kinds of homosexual actually issue, okay? Even, yeah, maybe around 20 or 30 years ago, many people actually agree that man and woman marry to each other. But now, as time passed, and now in modern day, especially in the United States, in this culture, actually, finally, the federal court actually accepting same-sex marriage, okay, same-sex marriage. Finally, as a result, woman married to woman, man married to man, okay. So this is now the legal, okay. Around maybe 20 or 30 years ago, it's illegal. But now it's accepting same-sexual marriage is now legal. So that's the biblical or non-biblical. From my personal perspective, it is non-biblical. In the beginning, God created man and woman, okay? And for the first family called Adam and Eve, they are man and woman. But now human personal choice, human actually, human right is bigger issue than creation of man, okay? So finally, as a free man, okay, as your personal right, you may choose, okay, you're gonna choose your fiance by yourself. So now it doesn't matter, it's man or woman. So one of my curiosity, maybe 10 or 20 or 50 years later, maybe some men going to marry to a dog. So in India, I heard that one woman married to a snake. Oh my God. So yeah, a woman walking on the street, and she saw the snake in the street, and suddenly she fell in love with the snake, and she married to a snake. So I'm not sure in some years later, some of the men actually married to a dog, married to a cat, married to a snake. Maybe federal court in the United States, maybe just now they never agree with them, never allow it. But maybe 100 years later, federal court in the United States, maybe finally they accepting married to animal, maybe I will actually expect that, because we already accepting same-sex marriage, okay? But from my perspective of view, it's non-biblical, okay? So maybe through the Christian ethic, maybe I can deal with that issue, okay? And yeah, the first 5 days, God created the universe, including the whole actually earth, okay? And He made the vegetation, plants, flowers, and finally God made so many fishes and birds, and also animals. And it seems like according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea and the bird of the air and over the every living creature that move on the ground. It looks like human dominated the whole other creature, other animals, okay? So yeah, definitely it's true. Yeah, we agree. Long time ago, just now I'm actually located in Anaheim, but maybe thousand or several thousand years ago, maybe or several millions ago, dinosaur living in this place, and even 10,000 years ago, maybe some animals actually rule over this place, but human come this place and they actually established a big town and they expelled the whole animals, okay? So tigers and the mountain tigers and other so many animals actually living on this place, but now human dominated, okay? So but one of the question is that human can actually demolish the nature. Is that good things? I don't think so. God actually give us a stewardship, okay? Human has a stewardship. What does it mean of the stewardship? Stewardship means that human try to taking care of the nature. But unfortunately, so many people actually, even including me, I'm actually demolished the nature, and because of the human being, the earth actually gets sick, okay? It has been destroyed by the human being. But if the whole nature, whole earth is the creature of God, we should taking care of this one, okay? Human versus actually nature. We are not a conqueror, okay? We could not actually demolish it. We cannot break down the whole earth, okay? We should taking care of it because God provided this kinds of environment that human could survive, okay? So that's why one of the also concerning the nature, actually we should taking care of the nature. And as I said, there are so many theological topics in Old Testament, and concerning about the death, okay? 100% perfect actually truth about human life is that all human going to die. I will die, okay? You will die. Your sons and daughters will die in some years later, okay? That's the actually conclusion. 100%. That's not theory, okay? Human death is not theory, okay? Because all human dies. There is no exception. But according to the Old Testament, there is another definition of the death. What is death, okay? After your death, there is another life. And what will happen? We don't know about this one. Even though the science has been developed, it is almost impossible what the definition of death, okay? But according to the Bible, there is some definition of death, okay? According to the book of Psalm, actually chapter 146, when the spirit depart, they return to the ground. On that very day, their praying coming to nothing. So what is the definition of the death? Their spirit departs. As soon as I said, human being actually composed of 2 or 3 parts. inside us there is invisible things called maybe another vocabulary soul or spirit. Okay, as soon as their spirit, what did the psalm say? Okay, their spirit departs. As soon as our spirit left our body, we are going to die. Okay, so our body actually return to the dust, but what happened to our spirit? That is invisible one, and according to the Bible, actually spirit is eternal. Okay, it never died. Okay, it never dies. So human being, actually we are the spiritual being. Okay, we have a spirit. Not only physical body. Our physical body, limited one, return to the dust. Okay, coming from the dust and return to the dust. But what happened our death to our spirit? Okay, the invisible things. So when we lose the breath of life, we become a lifeless body. Definitely, it is sure. Okay, as soon as you die, your body become rotten, smelling, and that's why we bury or we burn the body. So this is exactly the definition of the Bible. Okay, who human is. Okay, we are not on physical body. We have an invisible one that called the spirit or soul. Okay, so as soon as our soul left our body, actually we're gonna die. That's the definition of the Bible. So that's why. Yeah, it seems like the Old Testament, the theology, Old Testament dealing with the creation of God and other also theological themes, but definitely actually it dealing with our identity of a human being, and also it describe about death. Okay, so according to the Ecclesiastic, actually chapter 12, then exactly the same. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to the God who gave it. So exactly, dust to dust. Our physical body coming from the dust, and our body will return to the earth. That means return to the dust. But that's not the end. Okay, the spirit will return to God who gave it. Our spirit actually will stand before God. Okay, the spirit will return to God who gave it. God gave the spirit into our body. That's exactly when God created the human being, especially Adam, and he breathed. Okay, he breathed of life into the human being. So some invisible thing coming into our body. Where the spirit coming from? It coming from God. Okay, so after our death, our physical body actually return to the dust, but our spirit will return to God. So that's the actually definition of a death and the definition of a human being. So the specific part of our being, especially the spirit and soul, remain conscious after our death. They're going to actually the definition of a human being. So what do you learn through this lesson? Okay, there are, as I said, so many theological themes in Old Testament. God, okay, there is invisible thing, invisible supernatural being that called God, and God created the whole world, and including the human being, who you are, who human beings are. We are creature of God. That's the actually theological theme in Old Testament. And what is the death? Actually, human being composed of visible thing called body, invisible thing called actually soul or spirit. And what will happen after our death? Our soul or our spirit will return to God. Okay. So that called actually final judgment, okay, final punishment. So maybe through our other class, I'm gonna dealing with that issue. Thanks to listen to my lecture, and see you next week. Thank you.